Okay, so I'm Melody. I'm a counselor at Kapolei Middle School. There are some amazing like presentations before. It's a little intimidating, but Kapolei, like that area, it's just obviously everyone knows kind of like the second town on Oahu. And so just wanted to put an aerial view of kind of there. It's a very diverse at Kapolei Middle School. It's very diverse. We serve many different cultures and students, and obviously there's lots of just diversity. So our student population is comprised of um, Pacific Islanders, Asians, Caucasians, Hispanics, and African Americans. And obviously within that, there's lots of diverse home lives. And as a middle school, it's a really tumultuous time with physical, emotional, mental, personal, friendship, all the social changes that go on. And so at my school, and I'm sure at a lot of schools, it was really important that social emotional learning was going to be kind of a staple for all of the students. So we do implement it in our exploratory wheel class. So all students, so it's not just like some kids, so all students, including like our SED students and our like FSC classes, they receive social emotional learning skills during the first quarter. And that kind of stuff, we do coping and peer relation, time management, all those kinds of things. But as we all know, students are all different. And so the teachers and the counselors know that there are some students who probably benefit better from smaller group settings to learn these types of skills. They may also start to show the signs of maybe they need a little bit more intervention. So I got together with my teachers, and I had a few students they had recommended that maybe might need more support with these skills beyond just like guidance classes, guidance classes. So they provided me with some names, and so I put together a small boys group, social skills boys group. I also just thought for boys, it's especially coming out of when we're still in COVID, but kind of coming back to on campus, it's been a lot different. I feel like girls have a little bit of easier time communicating like at home and at school with like friends, but I feel like that connection has really been lost with the boys. A lot of them are like on video games, and they're not really communicating. So I felt like a boys group would be really good. So and in that group, that's the goal is to just kind of allow them to reflect on their behaviors and then build courage by conversing with people that they don't really know, and building that relationship with other people, and then hoping that they can use these skills for outside of the group once it's finished. So that was the plan. And these were just the standard kind of the things that we would be working on. So critical thinking, decisions, skills, self-discipline and self-control skills, effective collaboration and cooperation skills. And so obviously the students and the teachers have been really helpful to, have them come to me weekly so that we can meet, and they do miss some class. It's not like a core class, but, they are missing some class, and being understanding that sometimes those students don't necessarily need to be in the classroom all the time. I think they need to be in some type of a smaller environment where they're getting these skills. And then the parents of the students, it's really important to make sure that the parents understand that this is just providing these students with extra support. And then my administration. So it's a social skills group. So we address various skills throughout each week that we meet. We are currently working on self control and understanding that we have a lot of power in that. And so this started in November, and so November, December, and then there was break, and so we're back up again. So this is just one of the lesson plans, which I will show. One of the lesson plans that we did, which is self-control, it kind of took over a few meetings, but the activities of understanding self-control strategies, and them kind of talking about it, and like these are what are ways that something happens, or these when we are presented with these daily scenarios in our lives, what are ways that we can practice self-control. And then another activity was actually pairing up scenarios and talking about it, which these scenarios were very kind of similar to what they actually experienced in what they experienced like in their like at school, in their classroom, or even at home. So they were able to talk and talk and communicate about that. And then it was Jenga, and that was fun because the students were able to play, and that's something like hands-on, and having them realize that Jenga is actually very like similar, or you can really relate it to self-control. That one of the students in there was he was like trying to like tell people like what to do, and I was like, hey, you need to wait, you need to like, and that's the part, right? Like allowing people to make the decisions first, and hoping that they can make a decision correctly. So it was good. That was fun. And so there's like a debrief and all that. So that's kind of what we do every week. I meet with them for about 30 to 45 minutes, and we go through those lessons. So these pictures are just of them doing the Jenga game. So like I mentioned, there's just key social emotional skills that I present that I think every student needs, like self-control, recognizing, communicating, and coping with emotions and conflict resolution. At the end of each skill, to just for being at a school, it's really important to measure. So I do give exit tickets and to see if they've understood the skill. And then at the very, very end of group, which will end probably in about, I would say, 5 weeks, we'll have a time to kind of reflect. So from their pre-survey that they did in November until after their post-survey, and they can kind of reflect and see if there was growth from the beginning to the end of their group. So these are just one of the examples of like the self-control. So asking questions like, what is self-control? Why is it important to practice it? And then what is one way you usually show self-control at school? And then beyond this, I do hope to continue it. I would definitely monitor these students. Like I said, they're a little bit higher in needs. They have specific, the teachers have already kind of pointed them out with some specific concerns. So I would obviously still monitor them from time to time. Classroom observations, get teachers' input to see if this group made an impact for them, and hopefully it did. And then also I do hope to continue with smaller group settings. I know that teachers continue to ask for these small group, like they ask for groups like a girls group or a drama group, those kinds of things. And I think they're all great ideas. It's just sometimes as a counselor, it's really hard because there's so much to do and there's not always enough time to just dedicate 30 minutes for the students. So that's the hope, just to continue and make it more of a norm each year that there's at least some type of group going on for at our school. And then also just hoping maybe that these students can be used as like facilitators for future groups or peer mentoring. It just by chance happened that one of my students in this social skills group is actually peer mentoring another student in another group. We have a Japanese student who does not speak any English and is obviously transitioning from Japan, and he's adopted all these kind of changes to this one student. And my student in the social skills group like speaks Japanese, and it really worked out that I was like, hey, would you be able to mentor this like student because you speak Japanese, and obviously there's lots of issues with it's difficult with language barriers, and he was willing, which he doesn't talk very much, but he was willing to do it. So hoping that these students in these like small groups can be used for other programs or whatever it is at school. So that's kind of a snippet of what I'm doing for